Weaver may be a genuinely underwhelming update, but none of this can be said about Scyotid. We have a lot of builds today, so let's just speedrun through the basics. Here's the base stats of Scyotid, just the usual things. Unlike the usual, Scyotid possesses a unique trait that pulls in 8 enemies that scales with multi-shot within 10 meters. This description, unbeknownst to many, is actually lying to you. Before we get into why, you can basically just take the base number of 8 and multiply by the number of your multi-shot, giving you the exact number of how much enemies you will pull in. But look, there's a decimal. If decimals happen, basically just treat it as a chance of +1 or +0 on top of the current whole number. Assume that you pull in 16.8 enemies with plus 110 multi-shot. It can be translated into 80% chance of you pulling in 17 enemies or 20% chance of you pulling in 16 enemies, just like how multi-shot works. And by the way, why do I state that the unique trait is lying to you? 10 meter grouping radius? You sure this is called 10 meter grouping radius? That sounds like 15 meters grouping radius to me. And that's basically everything about the Scyotid. Let's talk about the builds and setups, shall we? Before we get into the real deal, there are absolute constants every of them, and I just don't want to repeat them over and over again to save some time here. First, Madurai Focus School. I use this focus school to provide us a plus 50% casting speed for 20 seconds and plus 40% ability strength if you were to chain sling. Second of all, Rhino is present in every single builds and setups today, including the use of Arcane Velocity, which is very easy to get right now. Also, a very hardcore Rhino main says that he is playing Rhino today. What a shocker, to be honest. Let's start with the first build, which is what we are looking at right now. This build is really just the cookie cutter galvanize mods, crit chance and crit damage mods, Little Torrent for fire rate and more multi-shot on top of it, Scorch aka 60-60 hit mod to make gas, Auger Seeker to make gas tick 11 times instead of the usual 6 times for better result, and Pistol Elementalist for better status damage. I assume that if you are this far into the game, these mods should be very familiar to you. Lastly, Secondary Deadhead because gas procs double dip the headshot multiplier. This is not something that really opens your eye. You probably saw someone showcase this build before this video, so let's not keep this long. Though you may need some external Warframe buffs to push the weapon before the mods and Arcane got their stacks. I will just leave a bit of emission showcase here. Second build, however, instead of Auger Seeker, I swap it out for Frostbite to make Blast. This build generally performs better than the gas setup, but does lose the lingering effect that contributes a lot to the DPS as well. Both builds are perfectly viable, pick whichever you vibe with the most. As usual, showcase to be upon here.
They could not do this without you.
Now comes the crucial part of this video. The setups can be paired along with it. There are many today, so do please sit tight. I am about to speedrun through all of them. Let's start off the setups with a simplistic approach, Shock. This subsume is available once you throw a base vote into the subsume system. And the star of the show today is Shock Trooper, which grants us access to a separated 100% modded electricity at base that scales accordingly to ability strength. Because Scyotid have access to easy grouping, some DOTs like electricity DOTs are capable to perform much better than just using it normally. Feel free to combine this with either the gas build or the blast build. Both of them works perfectly fine in this case. As always, here is some real in-mission showcase.
You are running out of time. Consider it. The longer you fight, the more successful we will be.
Immediately, let's have our eyes upon this subsume that comes along with the Helm system Sickening Pulse. Amnestic not glazing Sickening Pulse again? That's not humanly possible. Anyways, I'm not going to dive in on how it works, but basically it duplicates 10 stacks of the existing statuses on target with the exception of heat, slash and toxin statuses, which means that both gas and blast in this case are capable to 10 times the current proc damage for gas or immediately cause a radial explosion for blast for today's build of Scyotid. And due to its unique trait, Sickening Pulse is able to be made use of effectively, and pairing that with Rhino to push the DOT even further, where you can simply just get this. These are equivalent to a level 700 Corrupted Heavy Gunners, by the way. Here is the build showcase for both Blast and Gas build on top of Sickening Pulse. Enjoy!
Just caught. You keep fighting, and I'll keep finding.
This setup is only applicable for the gas Scyotid only. Do keep this in mind. As I am speaking right now, I bet that many whipsmains right now are probably creaming over the fact that Bridge Surge is very potent with this, and that's very true. Bridge Surge have many issues, not because it lacks damage, it's its application effectiveness that really hold this ability back from being exceptional. In this case, I'm talking about the set 10 meter spark homing radius. With the existence of Scyotid, this issue is massively negated, causing Bridge Surge to perform really well against the clumped enemies. Because now a very controllable grouping tool is at hand, subsumes are being freed up as well, allowing Raw to be paired with Bridge Surge, utilizing the fact that Raw now triple dips if DOTs were to cause the spark, as Raw applies itself to the spark damage too. Just the usual Raw being Raw moment. While Whipsmains may be happy over this, but you know, it's Rhino and unfortunately, he already mastered the art of stealing others' ability. As always, I'ma leave you the showcase like the last few times.
We will all share in this bounty.
Now, let us move into the territory of Ability DPS. There are 3 stars of the show today, which they are Coil Horizon, Reef, and Aqua Blades. Let's dive into them each individually first. For Coil Horizon, while it may seem like it's just a grouping tool, but with the augment Coil Recharge, this ability now turns into a very potent DPS tool, but due to its need of juggling around the ball effectively to hit the enemies around, oftentimes it's more of a meme and fun build rather than a more practical one. But with Scyotid, You can essentially just jump the ball a few times to get this number into 200 plus and then just leave it around crucial location. Then use Scyotid to pull enemies into the set 5 meter damage radius of it. Not only this ensures more time for DPS and the chances of the ball getting stuck to be very low, but also because of electricity procs that comes with it, allowing even better DPS potential than ever. But before the showcase, let's move on to Reef. Reef is Revenant's third ability and it is available through the subsume system for everyone to use. While Reef boasts good damage potential, it unfortunately lacks coverage. Without having a consistent grouping tool and a few strong damage amping source at the same time, it's not really applicable even for Revenant himself. And that's why it's Reef Rhino time. Rhino is already capable of ditching Primer as a whole once he reaches 410% power strength, as now Rhino simply one-shots almost every single enemy in this game by dealing 100.04% true damage to everyone he touches. And you should probably know where I'm going right now. Just typical Rhino behavior, you know. This also applies to Aqua Blades with its augment, Surging Blades. Due to the nature of Surging Blades wanting you to hit enemies to stack the damage up very quickly, you would need a source of grouping tool. You know the drill. Not only it makes our stacking speed faster, it also allows even better queuing speed as well too, as the blade only has an approximately 5 meter radius per throw, and this grouping definitely help alleviate its clearing problem. Alright chat, you know the drill. Here's some in-mission ads, huge love. I'ma go to the toilet a bit.
The longer you fight, the more successful. Additional life support has arrived.
Iron Weaver may not be a good update that is up to the standards in my opinion, but it doesn't stop Scyotid being an exceptionally viable secondary weapon in many of our daily setups. Obviously, I knew Protean mains are drooling over this, but that also shows the genuine versatility of this weapon. Not only capable of good DPS, but also as a supportive weapon. And yeah, that's all from me today. See you all next time. Goodbye.